So, you would think that Taharat HaMishpacha is kind of designed to foster, connection and intimacy. First of all, I don't really like the idea about Taharat HaMishpacha as to be designed. I like to look at it as an opportunity. The fact that we have this mitzvah, which again, as I said before, it's a chok. It's something that we don't really understand. But it's definitely an opportunity to find a way to grow in a marriage, to find a way to bring couples together. Because just the fact that, the dynamics of family purity is this dynamic that for 2 weeks we're not touching each other. We're not allowed to be intimate together. Then you have, 7 days that you're counting down towards mikveh, towards your reunion. So of course your reunion is going to be so much more exciting and so much more of a renewal. Also today we're in an age where the 5 love languages are extremely in fashion, whether it's the sense of touch or the sense of spending time together, giving gifts to one another. The theory is well known. And I feel that this mitzvah of family purity doesn't just, give us an opportunity to have 2 weeks off and 2 weeks on, okay, and there's renewal. It also gives us an opportunity to learn all kinds of love languages. Meaning if someone's love language is more a sense of touch, and for 2 weeks you're not allowed to touch your husband, so obviously you're going to make an effort to learn a different kind of language, whether it's sharing experiences, whether it's, whatever, going on a walk together, whether it's doing all these things that you are allowed to do, but they're not intimate and they're not touchy. So you're really kind of guaranteeing that your connection with your husband is not only going to be about your intimate life, which is very important, but it's totally going to be about every other aspect, every other love language that you could learn. And that's really the beauty of keeping Taharat HaMishpacha. Also, I want to say something about the 7 clean days. The 7 clean days that a woman has to count. We know that once a woman finishes her period, she waits a minimum of 5 days, and then she counts Shiva Nikim, 7 clean days, where daily she's making sure that she's not bleeding, that her bleeding has stopped, and on the 7th day at night, she can go to the mikveh. These 7 clean days remind us of another count. It's actually a counting. It's really a countdown. There's also a custom that a woman should count. I always, tell the brides that I teach, count together with your husband. It's going to add to the excitement. It's also going to keep him in the loop. That way you're not going to feel completely alone keeping this mitzvah. So I think when we're talking about all kinds of mitzvot, but especially the mitzvah of Taharat HaMishpacha, family purity, first of all, we know that mitzvot are commandments, but it's also from the language. In Hebrew we say tzavta vechibor. Mitzvah milashon tzavta vechibor, which means connection. And every mitzvah connects us. It connects us to God, it connects us to each other. There's all kinds of mitzvot. Ben Adam leMakom, between God and Hashem, between God and the person. Ben Adam leChavero, between people. But I think the mitzvah of Taharat HaMishpacha, of family purity, is really a mitzvah that embodies connection. It connects, first of all, it connects the woman that keeps it with God. It's bringing God into our relationship, bringing God into our home, and bringing God into our most intimate relation. Then it also connects the woman and her husband. When you have this dynamic of 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, there's definitely an excitement going on there. There's a counting going on there. There's a renewal going on there. And then it also connects the woman that's dipping to the millions of Jewish women who for thousands of years have been keeping this mitzvah and going to the mikveh. And whether we look from the time of when the Jews were in the desert, we know that there was a mikveh. We can even go all the way to Masada, which was built by Jewish rebels. But till today, when you go up to Masada and see how they lived, one of the findings that we'll find there is a mikveh, because it's part of the Jewish woman, it's part of Jewish tradition, it's part of Jewish family. Whether you go all the way to Italy and see the Jews that came to Italy after the first exile of the first temple, there are, so many stories of mikvaot happening there as well, or of Jews living next to rivers, which is a natural body of water, so a woman could actually dip in the mikvah. Same thing with going to Russia and all these stories of Russian women that would break the ice in order to have the merit to keep this mitzvah. And we can also take North Africa and Moroccan Jewry, where they make such beautiful parties before a bride gets married and goes to the mikveh and they throw candy at her, and it's a huge deal. So really, when you're going to the mikveh as a Jewish woman and keeping this tradition and this beautiful mitzvah, you're another link in the chain of all these Jewish women, where throughout all the generations, whether it was easy or whether it was hard or almost impossible, gave up their lives in order to be able to keep this mitzvah.